Welcome back to Survival Circle. Today we're talking about prickly pear cactus in our wild edible series. Now, I have some pretty good pictures here, and most of us who live in an area where it's available know what it looks like, so I'm pretty much going to breeze over the description and just say look at the pictures. Of course, you can see it's a plant that's comprised of a bunch of pads growing together in a clump. During the flowering season, it has a little yellow flower that turns into a green fruit, and that green fruit ripens to like a deep maroon or burgundy color, and that's when it's edible. This plant has been used as a subsistence food for thousands of years. The Native Americans who lived in the area where it grows used it as a daily part of their diet. It wasn't "quote unquote" a survival food; it was just food. So, let's go ahead and talk about its nutritional value. Now, remember, this is a wild plant. It grows in a large area in a variety of soil conditions, so it likely has a bit different nutritional makeup wherever it grows. So these nutritional values are more illustrative than definitive. I don't want you coming back and saying, "Hey, it only had 11% of dietary fiber and not 12%." It's going to be a little different wherever you are. So I'm taking a 1 cup size, 1 cup serving size, and this is for the pads themselves. And the pads, they have 22 calories per cup. There's not a whole lot there's not any fat, and there's not a whole lot even of carbohydrates. There, you do get some dietary fiber out of it, but the big guys here on the board are vitamin C and calcium at 24% of your recommended daily allowance each of vitamin C and calcium. So that's something to keep in mind. Otherwise, it's not real high in nutrition, but it will fill you up. So if you have some other things to supplement this, that would be great. As I said, the fruits are also edible, and so they have their own nutritional value. The fruits are called tunas. It's like tuna fish, put an S on the end of tuna, tunas. So they have their own values, and again, it's not a huge contributor to your overall diet, but it is something that will help out, especially with vitamin C and iron in your dietary fiber. A little bit of dietary fiber there. So again, this is something that is a supplement. It is not a mainstay for your diet, and both the fruit and the pads themselves are high in vitamin C, and vitamin C is really important. Since they are both good sources of vitamin C, let's talk about vitamin C for just a second. Many of us remember from history class that sailors on long voyages would get a disease called scurvy, because they had a vitamin C deficiency. Well, the sailors of the British Empire would carry limes. They're small and lightweight, but they're high in vitamin C, and they would use that to combat scurvy by eating it on a daily basis, and that's why the Brits became known as the limeys. Well, being smart and fighting disease is probably one of the best ways I can think of getting a nickname, but my friends from the UK, they still don't like it, so I'd pass on it if you're trying to make friends with someone from the UK. Don't go around calling them limeys. But anyway, that's the basis. Vitamin C is important. We want to keep scurvy to a minimum, but I think the history books did us a disservice because they said, well, they would get scurvy, but they didn't really tell us much about scurvy. So basically what it is, the symptoms are that it starts off with a general malaise and lethargy. It means that you just don't feel well and you're tired. Now that I've had the opportunity to help raise a teenager, I'm thinking that maybe teens need some more vitamin Z, because that's like a general condition for them. But within a month or so, the symptoms increase and expand. So not only do you have the malaise and the lethargy, but by the end of, say, 3 months, you could have developed shortness of breath, and your bones can start to ache. You have muscle pains, and, just like you've heard commercials for fibromyalgia. Well, this is just myalgia. This is just muscle pain, deep aching pain. So that, as if that's not enough, it gets worse. The skin roughens, and at the same time you start getting to where you bruise easily. Eventually your gums recede and they turn red, and your teeth can loosen and fall out or come out when you're eating stuff. Your mouth and your eyes dry out, and you become basically one big bruise, and then you start getting jaundice, or your skin starts turning yellow-ish. And after that, you start suffering from convulsions and fever, and eventually it can end in death. So vitamin C is pretty high on my list of things that I want to make sure that I keep in my diet. And as I was thinking about all this, I was going to go on this big rant about vitamins and everything, but I think I'm going to keep that for a separate video, so we'll just go ahead and get back to the prickly pear now. Prickly pears have a benefit even beyond their vitamin content. They're not only reasonably good in a survival situation, but they're something that you can actually use right now to do good things for yourself, especially if you have type 2 diabetes. A study was published February 2011 relating blood sugar lowering impacts of prickly pears. It was published in the Phytomedicine. It's a peer-reviewed medical journal focusing on medical impacts of plants and plant derivatives. This particular study stated that lab animals which were given a supplement of prickly pear polysaccharides, which are basically sugars, experienced several benefits resulting from these polysaccharides, and those benefits include a reduction of food intake, lowering of fasting blood sugar levels, and a reduction of cholesterol and triglycerides. Additionally, it increased the levels of glycogen, which is how, from what I understand, how glucose in the blood is stored in the body, and it increased the form of quote-unquote good cholesterol, HDL. The findings say that prickly pear protects the liver from oxidation and improves the liver's sensitivity to insulin, and thus lowers blood sugar. Now, once again, I need to remind you, just in case my pronunciation of some of those words didn't clue you in, I'm not a medical professional. Before doing anything that can impact your health, please consult a qualified medical professional. I know a lot of people on YouTube give a lot of good advice, but still, I consult a qualified medical professional. So, before I list something, moving on, before I list something that's edible, I like to try it. And that's what delayed this video. I've known about prickly pear for a while, but I just now had a chance to try it. I went ahead and bought some from the produce aisle at my local grocery store. I figured I might as well save the trials and tribulations of dealing with the thorns until after I knew whether or not I liked it. And to my surprise, I did like it. Now, this is how I prepared it. What I did is, well, first off, I was feeding 3 people, my wife, my nephew, and myself. So I got 3 nopales, and I'm hoping that's how you say it. It's N-O-P-A-L-E-S. That's what the pads are called, and though I'm probably mispronouncing it, I'm going to go ahead and move on as if I know what I'm talking about. Now, first I got a veggie peeler after them, and I got rid of all the little prickles that were still left on it, because there were a few. Then I cut the pads into strips about 2 inches long and 1/4 inch wide, and then I cut a medium onion up to about the same size, 2-inch long slices, about 1/4 inch wide, and I sliced up a few jalapenos. I sweated the onions in a skillet with a little bit of butter, and when they are good and translucent, I threw the prickly pear and the jalapenos in. Now, for you texture eaters out there, and I am one, this is not going to look appetizing. The nopalitos, that's what they're called when the pads are cut up into little pieces, get pretty slimy. And truth be told, if I wasn't asking my family to eat it as well, I probably wouldn't have, because it was a little slimy. But I did, and to my surprise, it didn't feel slimy. The nopalitos was still firm, and I couldn't come up with, I couldn't detect any of the sliminess, quote unquote, in my mouth, so it's not going to look real appetizing. Still, give it a shot. I think you'll like it. Um, Altogether, it was pretty tasty. I've heard a lot of people say that it tastes like green beans, and then has the slime of okra. Uh, I don't like boiled okra. I don't like pan-fried okra. It is way too slimy for me, and I love green beans. But to me, it tasted like nopalitos because it did not taste exactly like green beans, and it did not have the slime impact of okra. So it tastes like a vegetable. So give it a shot. Now, let's see, my nephew put it on his burger, and I ate it kind of as a side dish. Now, I did put a little too much jalapeno in there for my wife, so she said she liked it, but she wants a less spicy version. So we're gonna do that sometime soon. But all in all, I'd call it successful. So there you go. We have a survival food in the form of prickly pear, and it has practical applications today, and it's pretty tasty to boot. So if any of you guys out there have a favorite recipe for prickly pear, please add it in the comments. And for now, I'll let you get back to your day. Thanks for joining me again. Talk to you later.